the divine race actually bit into the threaded steel bars. They were locked inside the golden divine seeds. Their divine souls were sealed. Their limbs were bound. Only their eyes could move. Suddenly, a mortal wielding a divine bow fired at the divine seed. The brutal Titan deity was released. At that moment, a beam of holy light descended. Zeus, the ruler of the gods, descended to earth and led the 4 strongest gods of the divine realm to suppress them. But the Titans were too numerous. Ultimately, 3 of the gods were sacrificed one after another, leaving only Zeus and the gravely injured Athena, and returned to Mount Olympus. It turned out that long before the creation of the heavens and earth, a war among the gods erupted in the heavens. The gods led by Zeus defeated the Titans and sealed them away in Mount Olympus, where they would remain imprisoned forever, until 1,000 years later, a human wielding the divine bow of Rouse broke the seal, releasing the brutal Titan clan. The world once again plunged into crisis. This man is the brutal King Habilon. Because his wife and children were afflicted by illness in the past, he cried out to the gods for help. But even after his wife passed away, not a single god came to help him. So he swore to take revenge on the gods, and the only ones who could stand up to the gods was the Titan clan beneath Mount Olympus. To release the monster, they spared no effort, traversing all of Greece in search of the divine bow that could break the seal. Wherever the army went, destruction followed, and all of this was witnessed by the gods, but they were powerless to intervene, for the gods cannot interfere in the affairs of mortals, else they would be struck down by the divine whip and reduced to ashes. They cannot directly intervene. So Zeus transformed himself into an old man and descended to the mortal realm. He chose a young king and taught him combat skills day in and day out for 10 years, hoping that one day Theseus would lead humanity to defeat the tyrant. Today, the army led by Hippolytus arrived here. Theseus watched as his mother was about to be killed by a long sword. His combat power surged instantly. He killed over a dozen soldiers in one breath. Then he leaped into the air. Holding a spear, he hit the target from 100 paces away, but he was still captured by the swarming soldiers. He watched helplessly as his mother's throat was slit, but could do nothing. However, the tyrant Hyperion did not kill him. Rather than killing people, the tyrant preferred to torture people. So he sent Theseus to a barren salt field, where he was forced to perform backbreaking labor worse than death. Forget about revenge. Surviving was already a challenge. At that moment, a saintly maiden who could foresee the future encountered Theseus' body. She saw that soon Theseus would help Hippolytus obtain divine power. Perhaps it was divine guidance. To save Theseus, who was nearly dying of thirst, the maiden personally fed him a sip of water. Then he was dragged away by the soldiers. At night, 4 holy maidens sat in a circle. The strange ritual caught the soldiers' attention. Who knew that the holy women would then pull out their weapons, instantly dispatching the soldiers inside the house? Theseus and his men outside the house coordinated their efforts to eliminate the remaining soldiers. This news quickly reached the tyrant, so he dispatched his most ruthless henchmen to corner Theseus and his men into a desperate situation. At this point, Poseidon, the sea god of the heavens, could no longer sit idly by.